Hi, this is Chris Bosch, and you're listening to Animal House Radio with Aaron and Dr. Mike.
Hello, everybody. It's 8:03 on March 27th, and welcome to another action-packed edition of Animal House Radio. We're coming to you live on 1610 AM, Cha Radio, Voces Latinas. You can also hear us on Rogers 951. That's where my mother and mother-in-law listen. Hi, Mums. And, of course, we're always heard on www.animalhouseradio.com. Of course, the show is always brought to you by our fantastic friends at Hills Pet Nutrition, Hills, the makers of Science Diet and Prescription Diet. You can always check them out at www.feedingisbelieving.ca. Well, folks, if you haven't already noticed, I am not Aaron Thomas. It's Dr. Mike, and I'm filling in for the vacationing Aaron Thomas. That's right. After 26 episodes, he has now decided to take a little vacation with his lovely girlfriend, Deborah, and they've gone to the lovely city of Montreal. So, Aaron, if you're listening, we miss you, buddy. Love your dynamic voice. And if you're not listening, it's good to be the king. That's right. Dr. Mike's in the driver's seat. He finally gets a chance to talk. So, I'm joined today, of course, by my wonderful dynamic crew here at Animal House Radio. We got Joe filming us, going on YouTube. By the way, if you ever want to see videos of Aaron and I on YouTube, you can just go to our website and click on the video button above, and it'll show all the videos that we currently have on YouTube. Back in Master Control, we have our lovely Adriana, who's working the phones. If you want to call us tonight, to talk about our topic, which we'll discuss in a second, you can reach us at 416-785-0680. The ever-smiling Janelle, working the mics. Found out today that she's 3/4 blind. I'm just kidding. You look lovely in those glasses. And, of course, on Master Control, the man himself, Richmond Lee, playing all the tunes. And he promised me he's going to play me some 70s and 80s tunes tonight because Aaron always puts on that new stuff. So we're going to play some good music tonight. Right, buddy? Okay. And we'll, of course, like to thank Domino's Pizza. We had some wonderful pizza tonight, and they're always great. Get it to us on time, and the food is great. So thank you again, Domino's. Now, what's cool about the show tonight? Number of cool things. First of all, I mentioned it already. We started the show on September 26th. And interestingly enough, Aaron is gone 26 shows without missing one. And today is his first time missing a show. And the neat thing is that it's March 27th, and Dr. Mike is the host on our 27th episode. So anyway, for all of you actuarials or accountants or mathematicians out there, you might find that kind of interesting. For the rest of you, I probably bored you to death. But the other really cool thing about this show is I get to say wonderful whenever I want without Aaron bugging me. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, that's right, Richmond. I'm the king. Anyway. And the other wonderful thing today is, as a veterinarian, I'm on the show every week with a guy who's very intelligent. Aaron's very intelligent, but when it comes to veterinary medicine, the guy knows not much. So it's really cool today because I have a wonderful guest on, a good friend of mine who's on the show, and he's actually a veterinarian. He's a veterinarian who I've known for some time now and actually works very close to my clinic, and his name is Dr. Ron Moore. Welcome, Dr. Ron.
Hi there.
How you doing? Hey, you got an applause. I never got that when I started my first show. So the cool thing about Dr. Ron here is I'm sitting in the driver's seat and Dr. Ron's sitting in the co-host seat. And, Aaron's the guy with all the hair. If you're on animalhouseradio.com, you can see he's the guy with the hair. I'm the bald guy with the stethoscope. Well, now that I'm in the chair, I actually have more hair than the co-host, which is really cool because this man is Kojak lookalike. You look great, Ron. So we're gonna jump to the news for a second, and then we're gonna come back and talk to you for a second. But Richmond, if you want to give me all that lovely news music.
Wow, infotainment.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm gonna say that a bunch of times just to say I said it. The news tonight, as usual, it's kind of a sad story, but you know what? It ends up good, so I like that. The one thing that always bothers me about the news is usually it's something bad, but this one turned out really well. The story is kind of scary. Yesterday morning at around 7:40, a cleaner working in an apartment building at Yonge and Finch heard this noise coming from a dumpster, and he of course, investigated and found this box that was taped up really tightly and wrapped in a plastic bag. And when he opened the box up, there was this 4-month-old Lhasa Apso puppy.
Wow.
They saved it. Isn't that incredible? I mean, the great news is, of course, the dog is fine. But man, it's hard to believe that someone would take a 4-month-old puppy, pop him in a box, tape the box up, and then bad enough, go and wrap the thing in plastic, obviously trying to suffocate the dog. This is a poor puppy. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one, Ron?
Probably the best thing to do is to find the person who did it and do the exact same thing.
Yeah,
wrap them up.
Amen, brother. They are looking into it, and Toronto. We're going to talk to Nicola later from Toronto Animal Services. They're involved in this. I want to hear what she has to say. But that's a scary thing. I mean, I stop and I think if you don't want a pet, just take him to the shelter. You don't have to kill them, and especially that way. I mean, poor puppy, would suffocate. That's really bad. So that's pretty disappointing. But thankfully, the dog's okay, so we're good. I think what we're going to do is I want to ask Dr. Ron a couple of questions because he's got some cool experiences, and then we'll go to a break. One of the neat things about Dr. Ron is he owns his own practice, and so do I. And I've been a general practitioner for a long time, and Dr. Ron has been a general practitioner owning his practice for a short period of time. Before that, he was an emergency vet. And so I just wanted to get sort of a semblance from you never being an emergency vet. What's sort of the difference between being a general practitioner like you and I and being an emergency vet?
Probably the one thing which is different is that you do need to get up and actually be bright-eyed and bushy-tail at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and also be able to take care of the animals and during those wee hours of the morning.
Right.
Plus, one of the other things which is quite different with the emergency medicine is that it's difficult to build that client-patient relationship.
Right.
So when you do find a vet at a regular practice, meaning 9 to 5 or 9 to 7 during the day, to build that rapport with those people, those clients.
Yeah. You end up being buddies with some of your clients. It's really nice. Yeah.
Oh, definitely,
yeah.
Because you get to see them from basically birth all the way through their life and right till the end, where being at the Emerge Clinic, you only see them for a short amount of time, and it's hard to build that trust in those people.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, but you must have seen some pretty cool cases in your day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the one thing that's good about an emergency vet is you get to see some of the wild and wacko cases that probably a general practitioner wouldn't see very often.
Yeah, that is true. Probably one of the most not important things that I've seen, but lots of hit-by cars where we're able to stabilize them and actually get them stable enough to get them back to their referring vet where they're no longer in pain and they're actually doing quite well.
Yeah, and I've had a number of those, where they come to me the next day and they actually look pretty good. And thanks to you guys, it happened.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing what's neat is we are, if you go to your local veterinarian, there's a magazine called Canadian Pets and Animals, and we're in that. Aaron and I are in that edition. And right on the front cover here, I've got it right with me, is a picture of the Jamaican sled team. There's a Jamaican dog sled team. And one thing I found out recently about Dr. Ron is he's one of the vets for some of these sled teams that compete up in Yukon, Alaska. Where else do they go?
No, it's basically all over North America, but the large or long distance races are usually up in the Yukon, also Alaska. The one that I was at the Yukon Quest, which is a 1,000-mile dog sled race that goes from Whitehorse to Fairbanks, Alaska.
Wow. And how long does the race take?
It usually takes about 10 to 12 days. Most of these mushers are only traveling at about 10 miles an hour. So they're standing on...
That's a long trip.
Very long trip, standing on the back of a sled.
Now, how do you follow them? Are you driving? Are you going on a sled? Or?
No, it's basically a combination of being in a van where you go from checkpoint to checkpoint, but there are some fairly remote locations where you do need to fly in on little Cessna planes. So you fly over the mountains into the next few checkpoints.
Must be beautiful country up there, I gotta imagine.
Oh, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Lots of mountains, lots of snow.
So, here, talking from vet to vet, what's the most common ailment that you see in these sled dogs?
Probably the most common thing that we generally see would be more feet problems, the more repetitive type of actions that you see. Problems
like frostbite things? Or they're pretty immune to that, I would imagine.
Yes. There are some dogs that will get frostbite. Frostbite is usually on their prepuce, unfortunately.
Ooh.
All right, so that can happen. As well, most of the common things that we generally see would be problems with their wrists or their carpal joint, their shoulder joints, just because they're running over and over again.
And there's lots of, they're lifting the legs.
Yes.
And they're pulling. What are they pulling? I mean, how much does the sled weigh with the musher and all the cargo that goes on that sled?
Okay. Most teams will generally have about 12 to 14 dogs. The sled itself is probably 50 to 80 pounds, plus the musher, which is likely over 200 pounds.